Hey guys, welcome back to the Rusty Beauties Garage, and today we're gonna start working on another project that I've never showed you so far. It just popped up in the garage and it is here with the purpose to fill up some gaps that I have due to my disability. Hey, don't play with that. That's not fun. As you may know, I broke my leg and now I'm not in a position to work on everything that I would normally be able to. So we have this car in the garage. He's still playing with that. We have this car in the garage, but to work on it I need more than one leg, unfortunately. So there was somebody from a long time ago who asked me to do some repairs on this car. So I introduced the 1975 TR6. This car, I don't know what we're gonna do with it. There's many things, we're gonna get into them. Like I said, this car came here just so I can do some little jobs while my leg is healing. And today we have Mr. Tash here helping us to break our crotches.
People working on the car.
Yeah, he volunteered, he wanted to help me here with the initial things, like initial inspection that I'm gonna have to do on this car. We thank him for that. So let's do a walk around of the car, or maybe a hobo around, and familiarize ourselves with it. So like I said, it's 1975 TR6. It used to have the rubber bumpers, but somebody removed them and they are in that box, and they did a very good thing, I believe, because I hate those bumpers. The story of the car: a friend of mine, his name is Trevor, got this car recently. It sat in a heated garage for 30 years before he got it, so it is in a pretty good shape. There are some problems here and there, but they are not rust related. So after he got it, he took it to a shop where they started the engine, they did some maintenance on it, they changed tires, they changed brakes, they installed the roll bar for him, they changed his carpet, interior. So they did some stuff on the car, but he's not still very happy with it. He says that the engine is running rough, he wants me to check transmission, and in general the suspension, the exhaust, the frame, and just see if there's something else on the car that needs to be taken care of, so it can be a pretty safe car for him to drive on the road and go on small road trips with his wife and just enjoy it. He doesn't need a show car, he just needs a car that is safe enough for him to drive. He's not very technical, and that's why he wants somebody to make sure it is safe for him. So we're gonna do a walk around, we're gonna do a little inspection, and we're gonna go from there. So let's start with the engine bay. Here Mr. Tash already hurried up and disconnected the plugs, because we're gonna do a compression test. So he started already pulling out the cables from the spark plugs, but before he pulled them out, I noticed something, that the first cylinder is actually here. That's their first cylinder, right? He even marked them for me. And that is not right, as we know.
They actually might have a 180 out, because number one would normally be down here, right?
Yeah.
So number one is up here, so they may have that gear completely 180 out.
The fact that I did that makes me think, well, is the camshaft timing correct? So maybe we can jump into that as well. If it doesn't run very well, that's gonna be definitely something that I wanna check. I don't want to take the engine out yet. If we need to rebuild it, we're gonna rebuild it, but if we don't, we'd rather not do that. So what I think I'm gonna do, if it runs very rough, I'm just gonna use a piston stop. I'm gonna find the true top dead center, and I'm gonna mark it on the pulley in front precisely somehow. We're gonna figure out a way, and then we will see if the intake and the exhaust valves are equally open at top dead center of the first cylinder, and that's going to tell us if the camshaft is timed properly or not, without taking the engine apart. But in the first place, we're going to do a compression test, and we're going to go from there. We will see what that is going to tell us. He has a very, very big parasitic draw. It literally drains the battery in few hours. And Mr. Electrician here already found the problem for me. I've been charging the battery here for the last 4 hours, and Mr. David just checked this for me, and look at the alternator. That's pretty high. That's pretty high even for a human body, isn't it? Okay, for a human body it's not too high, but for alternator that is not running is pretty high. So we think that there's something wrong with the alternator already, and that's where the parasitic draw is, and that's easy to check. We're gonna unplug it and see if the battery...
I think we have an ambient temperature of about 14 degrees Celsius in the garage right now.
Yeah,
So
if,
that being 30,
for example, if we check this cover is 15.9, this is 35. It's much warmer than normal. So that's what we're gonna do. Eventually we're gonna rebuild the carbs if we have to. So that's for the engine bay. In general, the body looks like it's been repainted at some point because there's many runs here and there. So that's not the original paint. Maybe it's the original color of the car.
I checked the door tag. It is original Java green color, so Java green and black interior.
So that's the original color, but it's been repainted because there's a big run over there, there's some runs on the other side, and there's Bondo here and there. There's a crack of the Bondo over there. And Trevor also wanted me to repaint the car for him, but that's something that I'm not set up to do yet in my garage. So maybe we're gonna find somebody else to paint it for him.
It actually looks, if you look over on this side, it actually looks like the paint under here was a carmine colored car. So it's not primer. I can see it's not primer, but it looks like it was a carmine color under this fender. So this fender might have been replaced at some point.
Yeah, I can definitely see over there it is carmine color. Well, definitely something happened here in the front of the car, because you see this damage here. I don't know if you can see it very well, but this wheel arch has been totally distorted. And also something I didn't notice, David noticed it. There's a nice vent here to the wheel well. So what I think happened is that at some point somewhere a big chunk of metal got stuck in the wheel, and they spun it and it damaged the wheel arch, and in the meantime made a big hole on the wheel well. Okay, so that's about it here. So like I said, we're gonna at some point we're gonna put it on jack stands, we're gonna pull out the tires, we're gonna inspect the suspension, we will see if it needs bushings, tie rod ends, ball joints and stuff like that.
Throttle shaft bushings.
Yeah, David noticed here that we have the throttle shaft has a lot of play here, which means the bushings are gone there. So we're gonna have to deal with that.
Probably this piping up here.
Yeah,
the thermostatic vacuum switch is probably not actually working, so I'm probably suggesting to get rid of that.
It.
Yeah.
The EGR valve as well.
Yeah, the capped here. This is a carb nipple that's capped. So
yeah, these are all
non-functional
emission stuff that were required at the time, but not anymore. So we're gonna just remove it, and that's actually gonna bring the engine back to a little bit more horsepower.
Probably change the hoses.
Yeah, maybe we can order a green hose set and everything. Of course, we're gonna agree everything with Trevor before we order anything. Yeah, that needs to be fastened. Okay, about the interior, looks like Trevor ordered new door cards, like whole entire kit. This is actually left over here. They didn't install these for him for whatever reason. So I think he still has the old ones here, but when we change the top, we will see what the condition is, and we might change the tools for him. So new door cards, new even kick panels over there, I can see. All carpet is new. The seats look pretty good. Oh, I didn't notice that. That's a nice plate.
The sill plates?
Yeah, this is beautiful. Anyways, the carpets are new, but they get creased and somehow they don't stay, so we're gonna have to figure out how to fasten them down. David says that there must be buttons there. I never put them, but we will see whether we're gonna glue these down or we're gonna put buttons for Trevor. He wants a new top, so we're gonna install a new top for him.
Looks like the original top on this car. Tell by the diamond pattern on the inside.
Yeah, but it's definitely not in
Seen
its...
better days.
Yeah. Well, these seals here are good, but this one is done. So we have to inspect and see, because these don't come with the top. We have to order them separately. So we're gonna have to make sure that we order whatever we need together with the top. Yeah, no cracks on the dash pad. Everything looks perfect. The wooden dash is seen better days. So we can change that for Trevor if he wants, or we can sand this one and respray it, which I don't think is gonna work very well. The seat covers are in a pretty good shape, except the foam here is hollow. Like here, the foam disintegrated, so this side is hollow. The other side is pretty good, but maybe for the driver's seat we can order just the foam here. The covers don't need to be replaced. There's a damage over there, but it has already been taken care of. But yeah, here the usual suspects where they rust right here. I don't think this one is in a bad shape. Since it spent 30 years in a garage, it's pretty good. And that's it for the back. Again, here we're gonna have to check the suspension, see bushings. Shocks seem to be good. He needs me to take care of his exhaust because it's rusted. Maybe we can paint it for him, and he wants to add another set of exhaust pipes on the other side. So we've never done that, but maybe I can weld another set of pipes on the other side. You know how there's a setup for that already. We can change his exhaust to stainless maybe. We'll see. So he has a stereo, the original stereo, in the trunk, but he wants something that is a little bit more modern, that he can connect his phone to and play some music. So we will see what's available. We can suggest the one that Most Motor offers, the one that has the old style look, but it has a little bit more modern functions. Or we can just cut this over and install a regular single DIN radio with a little bit more functions. We're gonna put speakers where normally they go underneath there, but for the back also we can make some boxes and put them right there in this cavity behind the roll bar. He's okay with that, so we're gonna give him some nice sound. So like you see, these are all jobs that I can do hobbling around. Unfortunately, I can't do the same for this car. I can do a little bit of work on it, but not much until I have both my legs on the ground. All right, now I have to take a break because the blood is rushing into my leg when I'm standing. So David is gonna take care of removing the spark plugs, and he's gonna set up for compression test. So this is what our spark plugs look like. They're totally black. So like David said, maybe the carbs need to be set up properly. Maybe there's nothing wrong with the engine, but again, we're gonna test the compression, then we're gonna make sure that we have proper timing and everything, the ignition is perfect, and only then we're gonna start adjusting carbs and stuff like that. So he's ready, are you?
I'm ready, got the gauge hooked up. I just need somebody to sit in the car and crank it over.
Okay, let me get a piece of paper. So we are on cylinder number 1. We have the car off gear, right? Neutral, choke is off. We have full throttle, and now we can do 5 cranks? 4 cranks. Chef said 4.
One more. Hang on.
So you want 5? Or that was 3 according to it?
That was 3.
Okay.
Do one more crank.
Just one?
I think it was still building, so go 5 now.
Okay. Okay.
Keep going, I'll tell you when it stops building.
Okay.
Okay. 120.
120 on 8 cranks. So that's cylinder number 1 is 120 psi. That's pretty low, but let's see what the other cylinders say. Okay, that's cylinder 2. Okay, let's do again. You're gonna stop me, or Or should I do 8 as I did before?
8.
That's 120 again.
Yep. It's funny there, just so you know, I got a spark through the coil, which is odd because there's no cap on. I could actually see a spark coming through the center of the coil.
To what?
It just sparked there.
Inside the coil?
Yeah.
That's weird.
Yeah. Because I have no cap on there.
Doesn't matter, you have the point sending signal to the coil.
Yeah.
They're sending the ground to
I
the
only
coil.
got one spark though out of that whole 8 rotations.
I don't know. Yeah. That's lower. 115.
105, 110, 110.
Alright, so we're gonna proceed with the wet test, which means we're putting a few drops of engine oil inside the cylinder and then measuring the compression again, and if this rises, this means that we have problems with the ring. See, we're still in neutral, gas pedal. Oh, it's a little bit higher.
Yeah, I go 125 on that.
Okay, so that's 125 wet. Alright, so here's what we've got for wet test. All 6 of them went up by 5. This is 130 now, this is from 15, went to 20, 15, 20, 10, 15. So exactly by 5 psi. So still we have 15 psi difference between number 3 and number 6. 10% of 130 is 13, we have 15. So we are somewhere about 11 or 11.5% difference between number 3 and number 6, which is not perfect, but it's not too bad. So I think that for now we're not gonna touch the engine. We're gonna look at the timing of the ignition timing. We're gonna, maybe I can take out the valve cover and check if we have good
Valve clearances.
the valve clearances, and check also the camshaft timing and everything. But so far so good. Maybe we should start it now and see how it runs.
Yeah, we'll clean the plugs up a little bit and
Yeah.
put the plugs back in, and we'll start it up just so I can hear it, and
Yeah.
then we'll go from there. Pay attention to what you're doing.
Works great.
Pretty soon you'll have a cast on your thumb.
The cast works well as a spark cleaner, and the spark cleaner works well for scratching where it itches. So while I'm cleaning the spark plugs, David has an idea to start working a little bit on the carbs. So what are you gonna do?
I'm going to take the air box off first, and then we're going to check the diaphragms in the tops of the carbs to see if they have any holes in them. It looks like the rear carb, based on the plugs, is running really rich. So I think we have a problem with the rear carb for sure. So we're just going to pop the plugs back in after they're cleaned. I'll do a little bit of playing around just with the carbs. I'll top the one damper is completely empty, so I'll put some oil in the damper, and I'll check the diaphragms as I mentioned, and then we'll start it and see if that's any improvement before we go too far and too deep into it. So that's the plan.
Sounds like a plan. As long as my leg is up, I'm good. Alright, so David checked the carbs, the diaphragms look good, and
Pistons move freely. Topped up dash pod oil.
so carbs are pretty good. We're gonna see if they need any adjustment later. So I cleaned the spark plugs in the meantime. That was exhausting. It was a hard job. So now we're gonna put them back on. The distributor looks good inside, right? Like the points and everything. How
Yeah.
does it look?
Yeah, looks pretty
like
clean.
new. Looks like they changed it recently.
The cap is new, we know that.
Yeah, they put a new cap, new wires.
Looks like a new rotor. There's no
new
carbon on it.
rotor. Yeah, and it looks like the points are good. We're just gonna see if they...
Coil looks older.
Yeah, but with the spark that was flying off it, shows that it has a pretty good spark because it was jumping so far to reach to the closest ground. It was crazy.
It went into the fillings in my teeth.
Yeah, that's connected to ground. Okay.
That's connected to sawdust.
Yeah. So we disconnected the alternator because looks like that was what was causing the troubles. But now when we start the engine, maybe we should connect it and see if it charges at all.
We'll do an output test, yeah.
And yeah, we'll go from there. Okay. Are you removing the marks now?
Do you need them?
No.
You never needed them in the first place.
Yeah. Well,
I'm in the better safe than sorry group.
okay. I'm in the group where like 15 is too young, 36 too old, 24 is just right. If you ask me, all three of them are too young, but or we are too old. I don't know. Well, I noticed here there's a chip on the glass, so we'll ask Trevor if he wants to replace the windshield, and also the sun visors might use change or complete delete. My advice, and I'm sure David's advice too, is get rid of them, but if he needs them we can get new set for him. I think they're quite expensive. I think it was like
$100.
$100 the whole set.
That was probably a few years ago, so.
Yeah, they're expensive and useless. All right, so David is gonna start it now and let's see how she runs.
Okay, choke out, battery on.
Yep.
Yeah, the key is something on
Have to turn it back and then again. A little smoky, quite smoky actually.
100 pounds of oil pressure. Not the gauge is broken. More than 100 pounds of oil pressure. You want to take a video? Like, I have that. So there's a huge amount of slop in the throttle linkage. I can move it that much. No effect.
So maybe we didn't have a full throttle on when we were doing the compression test. I had the pedal all the way in, but maybe I didn't have the throttle all the way up. She's a smoker. So it looks like the alternator is charging.
Yeah. You have an air meter for this?
I don't know what that means. I have to read the manual of this and see what this means, but doesn't look right. And the battery voltage, hold on. So the battery voltage is almost 16 volts, which is a little bit too high. It should be somewhere 14.3, 14.5, I guess. 15.8 is a little bit too high, so definitely something wrong with this alternator. What's your conclusion, Chef?
I think the linkage is so bad that you need to look at the linkage first before you even try to adjust the carbs, but
Yeah.
it smokes pretty badly.
Yeah, so we either have rings issue or head issue, and I believe I should start with the head, pull it out, check the valves, check the valve guides and everything, and we're gonna go from there. If we have an issue there, we're gonna fix it and put the head back and check compression again, see if it still smokes. But if we don't have an issue there, that definitely is gonna tell us that we have an issue with the rings and with the cylinder size, etc. So
I'd probably take the carbs off while you're doing the linkage anyway, and probably clean the carbs out, because
yeah, that
if they've been sitting for a while, they look fairly clean exterior wise, but they're probably fairly dirty inside. So I'd probably give those a good cleaning while I was there. They probably got some varnish inside.
yeah, that needs to be done anyways.
Yeah.
But the smoking part,
Yeah.
I don't know if she's running rich, she would smoke again, but it wouldn't be a black smoke.
Yeah.
The smoke is pretty black, so I'm confident that she's burning oil, and that's coming either from top end or bottom end. We have to figure it out. Let's see what the oil looks like. I never checked that.
Okay, perfect. You found a feather. That's good.
Okay, the oil looks good. It's a little bit on the low side, but it looks good and doesn't smell like gas. So it looks like it's been changed in that shop that did the maintenance for Trevor. So I'm gonna keep the oil for now, but again, that black smoke is worrying me. All right, so I wanted to check also what's the situation here with the parasitic draw, and definitely we have a parasitic draw because now the car is off, the ignition is off, and we have 2 amp draw here on the negative. And if we come here and the alternator, like now it's 0, right? 0.3 whatever. If we come on the little wire here, we have even 3 amp of draw on the little wire, not on the main. Here we have 0.8, and on the big wire we have 0.4, which is probably 0 because even without anything inside it shows 0.3 or 0.4. But here we have 2 amp on the battery, and if we disconnect the alternator, I disconnected the big one and we still have the 2, but if I disconnect the little one, it goes down to, we consider that 0. So I disconnected this one as well. So definitely we have a problem within the alternator. Maybe the diodes inside that are acting as a rectifier, voltage regulator, whatever they are. Maybe there's something wrong there. We also noticed that it was charging with 16 volts, which is way too high. So we'll see, maybe we can get a new alternator, or we can rebuild this one. We will see. So that's another problem solved quickly. Thanks, David.
All right, maiden voyage
All right, time for a test drive
with a cast.
with a cast on my left foot. Okay, I can actually put my left foot on the outside. I'm not using my left foot for the clutch. believe
Okay,
me.
you're in neutral?
I'm in neutral. So the car is not registered, so we can't put it on the road. I'm not legal to drive standard, so we have to stay on the driveway.
You know, U-shaped driveway is as far as we go.
Yeah. So it's not you, it's gonna be old. Don't worry.
Oh, you're going out on the road?
No, the grass.
Oh, in the grass.
So forward first, don't get scared.
Yeah. Brake off. Ah. Mark the territory a little bit. I really like Java Green as a color. One of my favorites. Oh, almost stalled it. definitely loose in the either the muffler or the rear shocks or rear suspension. You can hear something knocking back there. Yeah, something definitely. Yeah, something definitely in the front. Can you tell where it's coming from?
Yeah, it's front left. I don't know what.
Okay. All right, back in the garage.
Don't drive over my shoes.
More that. Don't have food for the guy.
That wasn't very far drive.
That's some really scary noise. I don't want to drive it anymore.
Yeah.
I got to check what's wrong there. I wanted to show you also here what's happening with this crank. You can lift the window all the way up and it's skipping. And when it's all the way up, you can just do this. So now it doesn't do it. Automatic.
Like power windows.
And then, yeah, and then you can crank it up again.
That's nice.
It has a quick release. So that's something else that we need to look at. I don't know if we can fix it or we should just replace it. We'll see. Now it's pretty solid, but if you shake the crank a little, there you go. I don't know the other side. Well, this one is good. This one is good, but it dips into the. This one is good. So David says that if you push this forward, it actually locks the door.
Front door trap.
It might.
Try your side.
Yeah.
Here, lock it.
Okay.
Yeah, I can.
Ooh. That's a feature I never knew about.
Lots of TR6 owners don't know that.
Yeah. Let me try this door. So if I push this forward, this doesn't work.
I don't think you pushed it far enough.
No, that's all the way. I can't go any further than that.
No.
There's a little passenger room.
This one doesn't work, but the other side works. Maybe it's a safety feature so you don't lock the car with the keys inside.
Both of them should lock.
Alright guys, so that's we're gonna make an end for this video here so we can upload it and show you where we are. David helped a lot and we did a pretty good inspection. We know a lot more about this car than what we knew this morning. This noise is a little bit worrying, so next step for me it's gonna be to put it on jack stands, pull out the wheels and check the whole entire suspension and see what this noise is and if bushings need to be changed and stuff. And unfortunately about the engine, I'm pretty confident that we need to pull it out and rebuild it because that black smoke is oil. It's not just running rich, it's a black smoke, it's burning oil. So I guess this is rings or even worn cylinders or stuff like that. So I'm gonna see where we're gonna go with that, but for now that's gonna be it. Thanks David.
Let's have a poll on who likes Java Green.
Who likes Java Green? We have an argument here.
Fantastic
He likes
color.
it. She doesn't like it. He likes it. I don't like it. So,
So you have to comment whether you like Java Green in the comment section.
okay. Do you like Java Green? Alright guys, thanks for watching, thanks for commenting and subscribing, and we will see you in the next videos, which are gonna be about this project or another project. We will see. Thanks for watching. Bye.